Our story begins in Oakhaven, a charming small village nestled amongst rolling hills. As the early morning mists still clung to ancient stone cottages and rustic architecture, a quiet unease settled over its waking streets. The usual hustle was replaced by a somber silence, a sign that something was deeply wrong here. The once bustling market square now lay eerily quiet, its wooden stalls completely empty. Farmers had no produce to sell, and the surrounding fields showed only dried crops withered from a relentless drought. Worried villagers gathered in hushed tones, their faces etched with growing despair. But the most pressing concern was the flour. The town's bakeries, usually vibrant with the scent of fresh bread, now faced empty storerooms. Without this essential ingredient, the very survival of Oakhaven was threatened, and its future looked incredibly bleak. Food was becoming a luxury. Elias's alarm clock rang long before dawn, a familiar sound in the quiet Oakhaven mornings. He moved through his bakery, the only light coming from a single flickering lantern. The usual bustling sounds were replaced by a heavy silence, broken only by his measured movements. With flour scarce, every scoop felt like a profound loss. His flour-dusted hands worked rhythmically, coaxing life into the meager dough. The warm, inviting glow of the brick oven cast long shadows, a constant reminder of the heart of his bakery. Elias knew the village depended on him, and he wouldn't let them down, even with dwindling supplies. This was more than baking. It was an act of faith. With each scarce loaf, Elias felt the weight of the town's hunger and his own dwindling hope. He couldn't imagine Oakhaven without the smell of fresh bread. Despite the gnawing uncertainty and the unspoken competition from Thomas's shop across town, Elias was fiercely determined to keep his ovens burning for the villagers. As the first hint of dawn painted the sky, Elias, weary from a sleepless night, made his way to the back alley of his bakery. The cool, Praisenrise air offered little comfort to his heavy heart. Hay was there to retrieve empty crates, a daily ritual, but today held an unexpected turn. Nestled against his dusty back door, half hidden by lingering shadows, sat a robust burlap sack. Its unexpected presence immediately caught his eye. This wasn't one of his usual deliveries, nor did it bear any identifying marks. A strange sense of wonder mixed with apprehension began to stir within him. Carefully, Elias knelt, his flour-dusted hands reaching out to touch the coarse fabric. The unmistakable feel of fine flour through the thick material brought a jolt of disbelief, then a wave of profound relief. With renewed purpose, he hoisted the heavy sack, carrying his unexpected bounty through the bakery doorway. With the newfound flour, Elias wasted no time. His oven, usually cold, now glowed with the comforting orange light, filling his small bakery with the inviting aroma of fresh bread. The village, waking to this familiar scent, felt a flicker of hope, unaware of the anonymous generosity that had made it possible. Across the bustling village street, from the shadowed exterior of his own rival bakery, Thomas watched. He saw the growing queue outside Elias's shop, heard the murmurs of relief, and a subtle, knowing smile touched his lips. His secret gaze held a complex mix of satisfaction and quiet empathy. Thomas turned away from the scene, his expression thoughtful as he considered the hungry faces he'd seen. Despite their long-standing competition, a deeper concern for his community's survival fueled his actions. For Thomas, the town's well-being was far more important than any bakery rivalry. With the mysterious flour, Elias's bakery now hummed with renewed life each dawn. The scent of freshly baked bread filled the village air, a comforting aroma that hadn't been present for months. Golden loaves, once a rarity, rose beautifully from the warm brick ovens, promising much-needed sustenance for the day ahead. The change was palpable as happy villagers gathered earlier at the market square, eager for their daily bread. Children, no longer gaunt, played with renewed energy, sharing pieces of warm sustenance. The once somber mornings transformed into vibrant community gatherings, echoing with laughter and the joy of shared meals. Elias, though profoundly grateful, couldn't shake the nagging mystery of the endless flower supply at his back door. Hay observed the bustling village square, contrasting its vibrancy with the dire emptiness just weeks prior. Each new sack, while a godsend, intensified his quiet resolve to uncover the anonymous benefactor behind the village's daily bread. Elias's mind raced, haunted by the flower's silent arrival. The gratitude was immense, but the unknown gnawed at him. Hay began his quiet vigil, rising before the roosters, determined to unveil the secret behind the sacks. Every shadow held a potential clue, every gust of wind a whisper. Night after night, Elias patrolled the quiet village streets, his searching eyes peering into every darkened alleyway. He moved like a shadow, hugging buildings, listening for any unusual sound. The crisp air was his only companion, as he meticulously scanned the path he believed his benefactor must take, tracing the flower's journey. The subtle suspense mounted with each passing hour of his night watches. Elias felt a presence, a flicker of movement just out of sight, narrowing his search area. Hay sensed he was getting closer, a powerful intuition guiding his flower-dusted hands towards the truth. A revelation felt imminent. As the village slept, Elias pressed further into the pre-dawn chill, his senses heightened. He turned into the narrow, dark alleyway behind his bakery, where the mysterious flower always appeared. A subtle rustle and a fleeting shadow caught his eye, confirming his suspicions of a secret benefactor. He held his breath, hidden from view. From his hidden vantage point, Elias watched as a figure, burdened by a heavy sack, emerged from the deepest shadows. With a practiced, quiet movement, the figure carefully set down a familiar sack of flour by Elias's back door. As the dim light of a distant lantern momentarily illuminated the face, Elias's heart pounded. It was Thomas. A wave of profound surprise washed over Elias, quickly morphing into a deep understanding. His rival, the man he'd competed against for years, wasn't sabotaging him, but saving his bakery and the town. Thomas's quiet act of generosity, risking his own dwindling supplies, was a selfless sacrifice for the greater good of the village. Elias stood frozen, the truth settling deeply within him. He looked at Thomas not as a competitor, but as a man whose quiet sacrifice kept the village fed. A silent nod passed between them, an unspoken acknowledgement of the weight they both carried for their community. The warmth from the oven softened the edges of their earlier tension. Thomas, it was you all this time, Elias finally managed, his voice thick with emotion. Thomas met his gaze, a quiet determination in his eyes. The flower wasn't for me, Elias. It was for them. He gestured subtly towards the sleeping village outside, their shared concern for the community now overshadowed years of rivalry. Elias stepped closer, extending a flour-dusted hand. "You did this for all of us," he said, a newfound respect shining in his eyes. Thomas took his hand firmly, an understanding gesture bridging their past divide. In that moment, the fight for their bakeries faded, replaced by a singular, shared purpose: feeding the people. Elias and Thomas stand side by side, no longer adversaries but partners. They carefully combine their remaining flour supplies, a symbolic gesture of their new alliance. Their hands, once competitive, now work in unison to prepare the first batch of shared dough. Flour dust clouds the air as Elias and Thomas rhythmically knead the shared dough, their movements mirroring each other. Laughter replaces old tensions, and a newfound respect blossoms with every fold. Their flour-dusted hands sculpt a future built on cooperation. Together, they carefully slide trays of rising dough into the warm embrace of the brick oven. The flickering fire within casts long, orange shadows, illuminating their shared purpose. A quiet understanding passes between them as the scent of baking bread begins to fill the air. From that day, the bakeries hummed with a renewed purpose. Elias and Thomas, once rivals, now moved with synchronized grace, their combined efforts yielding more bread than the village had seen in months. New dawn truly broke over the sleepy village, promising sustenance and hope. Soon, the laughter of happy children echoed through the streets, their small hands clutching freshly baked loaves. The village market stalls, once sparse, now boasted an abundance of golden-crusted bread. The scent of yeast and warmth filled every corner, a testament to their bakers' shared resolve. Evenings brought the joy of a true community feast, tables laden with wholesome bread under the warm glow of sunset. Elias and Thomas watched their flour-dusted hands clasped, knowing their partnership had not only saved their village, but made it truly flourish once more together.